Guys, this tutorial is going to show you a couple possible projects that you can do for your next Photoshop badge. And with this badge, what I want you to do is to work on your Photoshop skills, to bring in a couple images that look like they belong. So you have choices with this project, which are listed in Canvas, and I'm just going to show you a couple of ways in which you can do this. So one of my favorite things that I like to do is called a mashup. So to get started, of course, we need to open up our Photoshop and create a new project. For this one, I'm just going to do the default Photoshop size. So a 7 by 5 inch with 300 pixels per inch resolution format. And then just go ahead and I'll actually title this so that I'll have it to go. And I'm going to make a mashup that's going to be a combination of Mario and Stitch. There we go. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is try to figure out what it is that you want to create, what you want to mash up. And so what I did is I already went in and did a search for images that I wanted on Google. I did a search for a Mario scene because that's going to be my base, my background. And then what I wanted to do is get an image of Stitch to put in place of Mario. So I've already gone in and done my search for Mario, and I saved that image to my desktop. You have to kind of be careful when you are searching for your images because you guys all know once you get into Google, you type a search, you're going to get so many different images. So you can see here, I had to be very specific for what it was that I was looking for. I had just put in Stitch before, and I got so many different images of Stitch that it wasn't really what I was looking for. I tried putting in Stitch with the gun, and of course the majority of images I got were gun related and were not school appropriate at all. So I had to use really good word choice to figure out the best way to get what I was looking for. So this is what I ended up typing in, and I got a lot of good images of what I was wanting. This is the image right here I was looking for, either this one or this one here. So in order to save the image, the one that you want to use, you're going to do a right click on it, which is on your mouse pad, a 2-finger click, or on your actual mouse, just the right click. You want to do Save Image As, and you want to send it to your desktop. So you could give it a name if you want. Since I already have this, I'm going to cancel out, and I'm going to show you what I have. So I've already saved it to my desktop as well as the Mario one. So these are the two images that I'm going to use to create my mashup. So I'm going to bring in the first one, which I want for my background layer, and that's going to be the Mario image. So I want to get this stretched to the size of my canvas, or pretty darn close, before I tell the computer to accept it. It will be pixelated. If it doesn't match perfectly, that's okay. And that looks good enough, so I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. And you can see that the computer was able to fix some of the pixels a little bit. But you can also see that I'm outside of my artboard. So I'm going to come over here now, and I'm going to crop it so that it is going to fit in that same space. That works, so I'm going to have the computer accept it, and there we go. Now if you remember from when we were working on our Andy Warhol pop art image, in order for us to be able to manipulate these pixels, you have to tell the computer over here to rasterize it. So I am going to come over here to where it is titled Mario, that layer, do a right click on it, and then scroll down till you see rasterize layer. And so now I should be able to get those pixels where I can fix them. Doesn't look like it cropped it for me. There we go. It did not crop it for me. I had to go back. All right, so now I want to add Stitch in as well. So I can just drag Stitch right on in. I should be able to drag, oh, I got to get out of my crop. Okay, try that again. Now let's add Stitch in. There we go. And right now I'm going to shrink Stitch just a little bit so he's about the same size as Mario at this point, because I want to incorporate these two together so that they look like they belong. That's our goal with this. That looks good, so I'm going to accept it, and then I'm going to come over here and rasterize it. All right, there we go. So my goal, again, is to make Stitch get in place of Mario and look like he belongs, and then have him look like he's shooting Bowser there. So what I want to do first is remove the background around Stitch. So I'm actually going to hide Mario right now so I can just see Stitch, and I'm going to hide my background too, because I want to make sure I'm getting rid of the white stuff that's all back there. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see Stitch better. And then I need to come over here to my selection tool and click on that. It's a little bigger than what I need. Let's try that one. And I'm just going to come around. Actually, you know what? There's a better way. I'm going to do Command D to get rid of my marching ants. I'm going to come up here to select color range. So this is a little bit different than what we did before. And I'm going to click on the white. And you notice over here that just the white is around there, and then I've got everything else is Stitches in black. And that's exactly what I want. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I want to make sure it does not get his teeth. So you can kind of see over here that it's trying to get that section there. And that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And notice that now my marching ants are around all the white part. Didn't quite get everything, so I'm going to fine tune it a little bit and have it grab these additional pixels here. So right now I'm just fine tuning where I want my marching ants to be around, because I'm going to delete this background, all of the white. So I need it to select it all. And this does take some work depending on how fussy you're going to be about it. Remember, you can zoom in and get down to the individual pixel layer if you need to. I don't want to get that. Oh. If you get too far, remember, you hold down Alt and it changes it to minus. So it's getting some of that outline that I actually want to keep. I don't want it to get that much. Move my artboard a little bit so I can see some more. And it's got areas there that I don't want it to get. See that? Got that pink. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this quickly so that you guys can get to work and not have to spend all of your time watching me fine-tune my image. But just like you guys, I want my artwork to look good. Let me get through this real quick. Get it good enough. Almost there. Get around the laser blaster. And that, there we go. All right, so you're going to spend some time fine-tuning, getting your image, main parts selected, so that you can then, remove that background. All right, so now that you have everything selected, we're going to do Command X, which is cut. And you see that I am now left with Stitch. There he is. Nothing else is there, just Stitch. And if I bring back the background, I'm going to zoom out so you can see And now I have that white gone and just stitch there. Oops. All right, so now my next step is obviously stitch needs to be facing the opposite direction. So we come up here to image. Oops, gotta make sure I'm on the right one. There we go, check your layers. If things aren't working, make sure you're on the right layer. Now let's go to, is edit, transform, and I need to flip on the horizontal. There we go. So now Stitch is facing the other way, and I want him to be right here where Mario is, but I need to get rid of Mario. So here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to zoom in again, and I want to cover Mario up completely. So there's a couple ways you could do it. You could go in and select those pixels and just delete them, but if you do that, you're going to end up with the empty space where Mario was. So I don't want that. So I'm going to try this other tool over here. I think I showed you this in the last one, the spot healing brush tool. And I'm going to come in and basically see if it'll let me paint over them. No, it won't. It just wants to fix them up. All right, so if that's, oh, you know why? Because I was on the wrong layer. Yeah, it's still trying to fix Mario up. Haha. So let's paint over him instead. I will go ahead and select him. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. Nope, don't want all that part. I want to keep the bricks. That looks good. Add a little bit more. And let's get our paint bucket. Make it be completely black because I'm just going to cover it up. Oh, helps if my opacity is all the way up. There we go. And if it's too black, what we could do is just copy the background color. This should work just fine. It's just going to take a lot of covering it up. Clicking inside of there and painting over Mario. Mario does not want to have that part of him painted, obviously. Okay, goodbye Mario. All right, let's get rid of our marching ants. Command D, as in dog. Gonna zoom out. And there is a little bit of a shadow effect there, but I think once we get Stitch in place, and it's not gonna matter that much. I do want to kind of rotate Stitch a little bit. So it looks like he's actually going to be firing at Bowser. And then to add to my image, I want to take this fireball and have them come as though they're shooting outside of, oh, you know what I see? I don't know if you guys see this or not. When I took away part of Stitch, some of that outline got left in there. So there is a way to get rid of that, and that is with your eraser. So this, ooh, Command Z, I was on the wrong layer. Gotta make sure you're on the right layer. Can't tell you guys how important that is, and even I keep forgetting that. So just go around with your eraser and be very careful because you are actually erasing pixels. You cannot get them back once you erase them. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so now what I want to do to make the image look a little bit better is to copy this fireball and put it in so it looks like it's coming out of Stitch's gun. So that is on the Mario layer. So I need to get my selection tool. And I'm just going to grab it. And I'm going to make a copy of it on its own layer, and that's Command J. And there you go. See, it's right there. And I know it's there because when I click on my Move tool, voila, there it is. So I want this flipped because I want it to look like it's coming, so I can just rotate it like that. Get my Move tool back, and I'm going to, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Try that again, move tool. And let me see if it'll let me, there we go. Move it. I can make another copy of that because he's got 3 guns, so I can have one coming from each gun if I wanted. So I could just do Command J again, or I could come over here to layer 1 and there we go, duplicate layer. Now I have a copy of it, and I can move that one over. And let's see, I want to make this one a little bit smaller and rotate it slightly. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Rotate, there we go. To make it look like it's actually coming out. And this one here, I think I'm going to grab that again. Make sure I'm on the Mario layer because it's facing the wrong way. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to cut it out and then paste it back in. So I'm going to do Command X. Notice that it removed it. And then do Command V, which is paste. And now I'm going to rotate it, flip it around. And it looks like obviously there's some part of the background that shouldn't be there. So I'm going to paint over it. So I'm going to get my paintbrush and I'm going to make sure I have the same background color. So I'm going to use my eyedropper, grab the background, get my paintbrush back, and come over here. Nope, not letting me paint over it, is it? Oh, you know why? Because I deleted those pixels. So you can't paint over nothing. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to draw a rectangle over, move my fire. I'm going to draw a rectangle, and voila, now it's covered up. Don't need that. And I'm going to go back to where my fireball was that I made a copy of. There it is. And put that back. Oh, notice it's going right behind there. So let's move my rectangle layer down below it. And voila, there we go. Now I've got a mashup of Stitch and Bowser. If I wanted to spend more time, I'd go in there and clean up Mario a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys how to do this. And now let me show you another project that you can do. So let me do a new document. Same one. This one is going to be where you can put yourself in a movie. So I'm going to do Bellatrix Lestrange and my daughter. So I went in and got an image of Bellatrix that I liked, and then I had a picture of my daughter, Victoria, and I thought this image of her with her facial features would work really well with, forget which image of Bellatrix I got, but I'll show you. Oh, I got this one here. So I'm going to pull it in here. So again, you just got to save it. I'm going to stretch it out so it fits. It will fix itself on those pixels. Get it just the way I want. Hit OK. Boom. Pixels are fixed. Need to rasterize it. Don't ever forget to rasterize. If you start messing with Photoshop and it's like, it won't let me grab it, Mrs. Coe, I can't figure it out, it's because you didn't rasterize. So remember, if you see that little white rectangle over there, that means it is not rasterized, and you have to do that or else it won't let you do anything. All right, so I'm going to crop my image again. Oops, that didn't work. Let me try it again. Helps if I actually crop. Get it the way I want. There we go. And now I want to replace Bellatrix's face, get my move tool back, with my daughter's face. So I actually put her in my downloads. So I got to go to downloads. There it is. You can take it from your downloads and then pop it in there. Boom. And this one does not look like yep, I was going to say it's going to have to be rasterized. So I got to go in there, rasterize the layer. Now I'm going to do kind of like I did with the Stitch and Mario. I'm going to take her face, Just select that with my quick selection tool. And I want everything but her face, because I'm going to put that in there for where Bellatrix is. So to tell the computer to select everything but what I just selected, I go up here to select, inverse, and then I do Command X, cuts it away, and there's my daughter's freaky floating head in there. So I'm going to turn her. I could put her in for Voldemort. She'd really like that. But no, I'm going to put her in there for, oh, I got to tell the computer, yes, I want it. I got to put her in there for Bellatrix. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I can do all this stuff as cleaning up. So I'm going to get her head to be the same size as Bellatrix. There we go. And obviously the coloring is different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eyedropper tool, and I want to pick up that coloring. It's a lovely shade of gray, and I want to get Victoria's face. I'm going to select it all, and let's just get my paint bucket, but this time I will lower the opacity because I'm going to start coloring her skin. That was a little bit too much. I think my opacity is too much. Let's drop it down a little bit more. And you can see how just clicking on there gives her that nice pasty, ooh, got her eyeball. Zoom in a little bit more. And the more you click, the darker it'll go. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep it like that, but I'm going to trim it up a little bit more. So I want to get rid of my marching ants, Command D. And then I'm going to use my eraser tool to come over here. Oops. Gotta make sure you're on the right layer. There we go. And get rid of that hair. Shape her head just a little bit more so it can fit in there. All right. So I'm going to put her head back in there. The coloring's still not quite the same. And you notice the tilt isn't quite the same either. So what I can do is I can still go in there and work on changing that color a little bit. Still going in, making her pastier and pastier. Can also lower the opacity on her. And so to do that, I come over here to my layer, and what this is going to do by lowering the opacity is it brings Bellatrix's face a little bit, part of it is like see-through, so it kind of meshes it together a little bit more. And then I need to work on, need to tilt her a little bit more. There we go. And now we're going to do one other cool thing, which is our puppet warp. I just got to remember where it's at. Ooh, I can blur the edges too. That might be a good thing to do. Make sure I'm on Victoria's face. Soften those edges up a little bit. Don't know if you can tell that that's what it's doing. This is a good way to fix an image if it doesn't look quite the way you want. Looking for my warp tool. Might have to go up to transform. Let's go up to transform. Okay, so edit. There it is, puppet warp. Okay, so puppet warp is really cool because you can actually modify and change the shape of what you're working on. So you got to put these little pin pricks And then once they're in there, you can start adjusting your image. To get the face of whoever you're working with where you want it to be. So yes, I want to apply it. Now I know I can do a whole lot more. I just wanted to show you guys kind of what this is like there. So that's one project you can do. So you can do the mashup like that. You can put your face or family member's face in for somebody else. And then the last project that I'm going to show what you could do is kind of like a mashup, but it's mashing up two objects that don't really look like they belong together. So this is one of my favorite things that I did last year, actually the year before, is I took a kiwi and then I mixed it with a kiwi. So this is what's called a slice. So I got to find my image of the kiwi I want. I want that one there. So I'm going to save my image to my desktop. And then I need to get a kiwi that will fit inside of it. That looks like the right coloring. That one's a little dark. You got to really visualize what your end project is going to look like. That might work. I'm just going to take that one just so we can get this done. And go back to my desktop. So I'm going to get my kiwi in there. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. I don't need to resize. Do need to rasterize. And then I'm going to bring my fruit in. Accept it, rasterize it. Okay, I'm going to move this up over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like this kiwi is sliced open. And then inside of it will be the kiwi fruit. So this is really cool and fun to do. So the first thing I got to do is make a couple of selections of my kiwi. So where I want it to be sliced, oops, wrong button. I'm just going to take the part of the kiwi that I want. That looks good. I'm going to cut it away. And then I'm going to paste it. So that was Command X to cut, Command V to paste. And I'm going to get rid of all these pixels right here that were extra. So that's my eraser tool. Go in there and erase all that little extra stuff. There we go. And now I have my kiwi into two parts. So if I now want to take this part of my kiwi on the actual fruit, and I'm going to select this part here. I don't want all of it. I might have to just cut some of it because the pixels are going to want to grab everything. That should be good. All right, so I'm going to do select inverse because that's the part I want to keep. And that got rid of everything else. And let's go ahead and resize it. So I want this kiwi to look like it matches with this kiwi here. So I need to put this layer above so that the feathers kind of look like they're going in. And I'm going to resize it so that it looks like it is the same size. And now here's something that's cool that helps out with something like this. Up here in your edit, there's this perspective warp. So we saw the puppet warp before. So you are going to, okay, thank you. I'm going to grab this. Okay. And we're going to change the perspective of, they've done some changes to this since I last did it. Let's see if it'll do it. Photoshop changes all the time. Let's try that again. It did not get what I wanted. Edit, perspective warp. Need it to change that perspective again. All right, so there we go. I want it to be tilted that way. And so it's not tilting it for me. It's driving me nuts. Oops. Let's see if it'll do it. I missed what it said for step 2. A little bit better. I think what I need to do is work on getting rid of that stuff there. So I'm going to get my eraser tool, and basically what you can, as you can see, what to do is you're going in and you're going to make this look like the kiwi bird and the kiwi fruit. I'm going to make a copy of this. And I'm going to flip it. Oops. Look like they're together. My perspective is all wrong, so it's messed up on me. But anyway, that is what you guys are going to be doing. I have a much better looking kiwi that I've done, but just for the time's sake, I wanted you guys to see. I'm going to try that puppet warp one more time because it is driving me nuts. Oh, there we go. That's not the right one. Sorry. I hit the wrong one, perspective warp. Okay, anyway, this is kind of how you do the sliced fruit thing. But I wanted to show you guys some of the tricks of what you can create with Photoshop. So what your final goal is to choose 2 different projects to create. I have examples in Canvas for you to see, but I just wanted to kind of show you some of the tricks of how to get some of these projects completed so you'll know what to do. All right, can't wait to see what you guys create. Have fun.